in some ways, this feels new. These challenges that we're facing as a planet. In other ways, these challenges are old. Conflict has always been a part of the human condition, as has the degradation of the environment, probably at least from the time of the Industrial Revolution, and maybe before that, I don't know. But sometimes it feels like the world is on the brink of collapse, right? And disease also always been a truth of the human condition. The Buddha talked about these 4 rivers of suffering: birth, aging, sickness, and death. And of course, we could add to that the suffering of war, the suffering of strife, the suffering of loss, the suffering of famine. So many sufferings in the human condition that we face. And we do, as a tradition, Buddhist tradition, and also other religious traditions, have tools of resilience for how to meet those challenges. Those tools are very old. And the problems that we face, the sufferings that we face, are also, while they feel very new, they are happening to us now in this present moment. In some ways, they're also human sufferings. And for me, it helps me to remember that. Helps me take a sigh and pause instead of feeling that sense of anxiety, like we're in something that we can't handle. Whether or not we feel that we can't handle it, we must learn to. We must learn to face these times with resilience and with compassion and a willingness to move forward as a force of good rather than a force that perpetuates that suffering. And then my open question is, how do we do that? And Liz and I have been, talking about this for so many years now in NDF, even before the pandemic, just talking about how do we address the problem of the suffering of the earth and the planet in the face of its degradation.
Thank you all for inviting us and inviting us to sort of share our thoughts around these topics and our sense of the trajectory of Natural Dharma Fellowship and what we can offer to the world at this time. And of course, I completely agree with what Lama Willa was just saying, that yes, it does seem that at this time we are in a vastly accelerated experience of impermanence, of suffering, of real unknown, looking into an unknown future that none of us can really clearly understand what's going to happen. We just don't know. And it feels more and more important to bring the particular areas that we have decided to focus on in NDF more and more clearly into the present moment, so that we can share these technologies, these techniques for standing in our own integrity in the midst of this charnel ground that is not only a personal charnel ground for all of us in terms of the emotional upheaval and the suffering and grief and frustration and maybe rage that we may be feeling, but is really a communal space where so many people now are finding themselves, this space that can feel quite threatening and overwhelming. And yet, as Lama Willa was just saying, we have these technologies, we have these tools, we have these methods that help to build resilience, that remind us that we actually have what we need to be present during these times and to really move forward with love, move forward with care, not to abandon the bodhisattva vow, right? To do no harm and to really reach out and care for and help to heal our planet, ourselves, each other.